Hello listeners, today I bring you a tutorial on flow. Now what is flow exactly? Well, flow is the general direction in which the eye travels along a piece of art or even other things, though I can't really come up with a list, but I'm sure it applies to other things, but generally to art. So how do you create flow in a piece of art? Well, to create flow, you need to have your effects or whatever else, again I can't really think of a list of things that would apply, but etc., going in a certain similar direction. I find that though smudge style signatures are a challenge for me at least, the flow is easier to achieve in them, wherein C4D signatures are slightly harder and texture and other signatures to be even more challenging. So I'm going to show you a series of examples of flow. The first one is a diagonal flow, which I believe to be the easiest type of flow to work with, and it's a smudge signature, so even though I'm challenged with smudging, it was easy to create this flow that I wanted, even though the circles do kind of irritate the flow, but you can still see the general direction in which you want the eye to travel. Now in this signature we have a flow going from the middle in two opposing directions. So I don't know why my brush is so large, but we have the render has his arms bent in a way that they go in opposing directions, and so I based my flow off of the direction his arms went. In order to make him kind of fit into the tag more, as well as create an interesting flow to the piece, because just making a diagonal flow in every piece can get kind of boring, but it still works very well. And then of course don't limit yourself to like straight flows or anything like that. You can be creative and make a curved flow like in this one. Because of the road curve, I curved the effects a little bit, as well as the car kind of feels like it's curving because it's going around the turn, but in all actuality the stock that I used of the car was not curved whatsoever. And in this signature I'll just show you that here I have a general diagonal flow covering over the render to make him more of a part of it, and then over here I have a effect going against the flow to kind of create a contrast in my piece. And sometimes creating such a contrast in your piece really isn't a good thing, but if you achieve it properly then it can definitely look good. So in this case I put my light source going in a different direction to kind of be able to draw the eye to the light source, but still have the main part of my signature to be my render and my C4Ds. And finally I'll just show you a quick tip as to how I think it's easy to achieve flow in a signature. So basically you want to choose your render, of course, to start a signature, or you can choose a stock to start your signature. It doesn't really matter. So I'll just choose a quick render, find a nice one. Right. So this render you can kind of see has a little bit of a curved flow to it naturally, and you can of course follow that flow if you wish to. It's definitely a good idea to follow the flow of the render, but it's not necessarily necessary. So you could also just do a straight diagonal flow. That would work fine. Now going against the flow of a render can kind of be very contradicting in your tag, and generally is not a very good idea. Now, depending on the effects, however, it could be a good idea. Like, you could kind of make, if you put your effects this way, you could make it feel like the render was falling backwards from the way that you put the effects, and that would certainly work out. But generally, it's not the best idea to go against the flow of your render. So when you start a signature, you pick your render, and then I find it best to pick where you want your flow to go, so that you can make sure that your effects go along that flow and don't stray from it and create just this chaotic piece that nobody can figure out what's going on, because they're going in all different directions. So to go along with this flow, you just on another layer under your render or over your render, it really doesn't matter, I suppose, just show what kind of flow that you want, and then you can go ahead and drop in your effects. So if I were to take a PSD effect, or C4D, I'm really off today, then then I would drop it in, change the size to fit my liking, which that's too small, but whatever. And then you can transform it to go along with the flow, and a useful tool as well would be to distort it in ways. You can do distortions through the transform tool. Just go to distort and you can kind of distort it, as well as like warp it so that you could pull this back, but that's definitely going to lose a lot of quality, which you can gain back kind of from sharpening, and even if you like use the clone tool to get like fix the spots that got messed up. But another way is also to go to filter, distort, and choose between twirl or wave. Generally what twirl does is it basically just twirls it in a circle like so. So if I wanted my flow going that way, this way, then I could curve this, and then I have a piece kind of following the flow here and then coming back, which that would certainly make for a very interesting flow in the piece. And I can also use you can use any distortion you wish, but these definitely are the best two in my opinion. And you can use a wave as well, and just randomize it until you find something that you think matches the flow and looks nice. God. Alright, let's just go with this, and then we can just change the way that it's looking. And now you have a nice curve to your signature, and you can just repeat that with more effects. You know, it definitely is useful, like using the same effects and just like changing it up in ways and stuff. That can definitely get you a long way. So yeah, that's my tutorial on flow. I hope this has been helpful, and if it has, please drop a like and subscribe. Alright.